I flew to Bali, Indonesia for only $129 from Melbourne, Australia, and this was on Jetstar's brand new A321neo plane. I will be showing you guys the entire flight experience all the way from check-in till we get to Bali later in the day. Make sure to watch this video till the end. That's when I'll be showing you guys my secret method through which I was able to secure this ticket for super cheap. Before we get into the juicy part of this video, I'm Black. I make videos on personal finance, entrepreneurship, travel hacks, so make sure to hit that red subscribe button if you're interested in any one of these topics. Now let's get into the value. So this particular trip started for me at Sydney Domestic Airport, where I took a Jetstar domestic flight to Melbourne first.
I think the trip started pretty well. I just scored myself an emergency row seat, that too in row number 1. So I was the first one to get off.
And look, I'm not gonna lie, I really like this upgrade. Even though this was not an emergency row seat, it was filled with like space, and we were the first ones to leave the plane. So to be honest, after a 1 hour short flight, we were in Melbourne, and this is where I was supposed to catch my flight to Bali. Over here, because I took a domestic flight, I had to basically pick up my baggage, go into the departure section again. I'll be honest with you, Melbourne airport is quite tiny, so it was not a big problem, and then basically had to check in again. So after making my way past the security, I then headed to the Qantas's business class lounge at Melbourne International Airport. I have access to these particular lounges thanks to Qantas's club membership. But then I made my way towards the barista to grab a nice late hour cappuccino. On this particular day in the late afternoon, the lounge was fairly empty and quiet.
Pretty nice coffee.
I didn't feel like having much of the food in the lounge because it was nothing exceptional. It looked pretty bland and dry, and there weren't much options out there. I just went for a basic Coke, and then look, I headed towards my gate. So I would rate my lounge experience was pretty average. There was not much to it, but then look, I was more excited to get to Bali on this Jetstar flight. For some funny reason, the flight was actually on time today, and the boarding started when it was supposed to. So to start off with, I was quite impressed initially as soon as I entering the plane. The seats were really nice and well maintained. The seat configuration was a 3x3 in a single aisle, and look, the window was pretty big. Looking at the actual leg space now, it was pretty decent. I'm 6 foot tall, and I think I was able to fit in quite well. The only issue I'd say is the actual seat itself. Look, there's not much mass to it. It feels like a thin cardboard which you're sitting on. Now looking at the food and entertainment options on this particular flight, look, you can go ahead and purchase an entertainment pack which will give you access to all these movies on your phone. Not just being a low-cost carrier, you have to buy your food on the plane. It's not included in your fare. So the food menu was quite varied, like there were quite a few options, but all in all, I don't think you'll have to starve when you're on this particular flight. I looked at the people right next to me who had ordered some nice meals, and the portion sizes were pretty decent, and they weren't super expensive. So as you're completely reliant on your own personal devices to keep yourself entertained, there's a USB-A port to charge your devices. I would say make sure to bring an iPhone or your Android charging cable, because that's the only option you guys have to charge your mobile devices or your iPads. But that's about it. That's all this flight has to offer. As you could tell, it was super jam-packed. I came to the waiting area to grab some water, which was actually free. The toilets and the restrooms were pretty small and packed, but funnily enough, we were actually in Bali earlier than what we were expected. So that was my entire experience of flying a Jetstar A321neo to Bali Denpasar from Melbourne. I would say this flight is perfect if you're looking to travel on a budget. There's not much to it. However, for the next 7 days, I had a great time in Bali, looking at great sunsets, staying at nice resorts, interviewing local digital nomads to see how they make their money. And finally, it was my time to head to my next destination. So that was the overall experience on Jetstar's brand new A321neo plane. In my opinion, the flight was actually on time. It got to Bali on time, so I really like that. Now moving on to the next part of this video, I basically got this ticket for only $129, and I will show you guys a step-by-step method on how I was able to do this. So I basically booked this flight using my Qantas frequent flyer points, which I've managed to collect using my different credit cards. So what I did next was I went onto Qantas's website, put in the destination and the date of travel. I made sure to take the use points feature, and then basically I started to look through the calendar. As you can see on this calendar view, all the dates which have this red ribbon basically means that there is a classic reward flight available on that particular date. So I went on to select the date I was looking to travel into, and then I was brought to this search result. So all you have to do now is basically click on the reward seats only tab, and as you can see, this particular flight is only 18,000 Qantas frequent flyer points and $129 in taxes and fees. So as you can tell, this particular flight is not completely free. But anyways, go ahead and select the flight, make sure the timings works well with you guys, and then basically go ahead and click on add to trip option. This is basically a summary page which will basically show you the cost, the flight details. In this case, it is 18,000 points and 120 bucks. And as you can see, this is an economy classic reward seat, which basically means your class of travel would be economy class. So well, I hope you guys found this video useful. If you're interested in learning about how I was able to collect Qantas frequent flyer points to book all of these travel for really cheap, make sure to check out this video. And if you guys found this video useful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more such content, put down any questions or concerns you guys have in the comment section. Until then, take care and I'll see you in the next one.